Hey, so what is going on, everyone? It is me, Mr. Mario, and it's about that time of year where, in case you do not know, for the past few years, what I've done ever since the PS4 and the Xbox One have come out is I've done some comparison videos. I did a video a few months after the systems came out called PS4 versus Xbox One, My Thoughts, and people seem to love that video. They really enjoyed that video. And then I've done some others like a 6-month check-in, a 1-year check-in, and I decided to do a 2-year check-in. And I said with my last check-in, where the check-ins were more, I was just, kind of analyzing, seeing what was going on, and really assessing the situation and kind of, giving it to you from a hopefully unbiased manner and saying, this is what this system has, this is what this system has. Should you upgrade? Yes or no? What do you think? But the last time I made this video, I was kind of saying, I don't really see a need to upgrade yet. If you could, awesome. If not, it's all good. But the next time I make a check-in type video, that might change. So we're going to be going over this. Now, for anybody that does not know, this is just going to be, of course, over Xbox One, PS4. Some people might, be asking what about the Wii U, anything like that. I'll tell you who this video is not for. If you are not interested in upgrading at all, if you are looking more towards a Wii U instead of either of these other systems, the reason why I'm taking the Wii U out is because it's just fundamentally such a different system compared to the PS4 and Xbox One. Granted, it's a great system. I love my Wii U. I actually have 2 of them. Great games on there, great system. I do enjoy it. But the people who are going after Xbox One versus PS4 really just think of those 2 systems. They don't really think of the Wii U. The Wii U, it's still a good system, but it's, just off there. It's at offshoots and everything. It just has different everything on there, which is no offense to the system at all. That's just how it is. So if you're in that camp, this video is not going to be for you. For other people who might be saying, you should just get a PC, you should just buy a PC, upgrade your PC, this video is not for you either. PC gaming is great. Again, I actually have 2 PCs. I have this desktop right here that I still enjoy. It works quite well. And I have a laptop that has a okay to good graphics processor in there. So I'm capable of doing PC gaming, but I still enjoy my consoles for a multitude of reasons. And if you do, that's okay as well. Now, who is this video for? This video is for people who, let's say you have an Xbox One, you're thinking of getting a PS4, or you're thinking of trading in your system, so you're kind of doing that, is the grass greener on the other side type thing. It might be people who are wanting to switch systems, might be people who don't have either system, and they're contemplating on buying just one system, or maybe buying both of them, or should I even purchase a system? And then people who are just curious for whatever reason. If you're in that camp, thank you for watching. So what I normally do here is I kind of just give you all my thoughts, my opinions on the systems. I kind of go through and talk about, the positives, negatives of them, try and negate some things as well too. So there's been some things I have said before where one big thing, you need to look at the date this video is being uploaded, right? This is for people who are watching it, months down the line. Because my very first video, a lot of people try to accuse me of being a big fanboy or anything like that because I had said the Xbox One was snappier. It was faster. Then it slowed down dramatically. And that sucked. But at the time I recorded that video, it was faster than the PS4 when I was noticing things. People also said you don't need the Kinect to navigate it. Again, at the time I made that video, the UI was not optimized for a controller. It was much easier and faster to navigate using a Kinect. You see the correlations here and everything. So dates really do depend on the videos as well too. So be sure if you're commenting, months down the line, just look at the date, be conscious of that if you're going to do that. So I'm going to kind of cover, the systems themselves, some hardware, the software, and then my final thoughts on it. This will be a long video, so just sit back, enjoy this. You can probably even just minimize this and just listen to the audio if you want to. But anyways, when I pick a new system, there are 3 things that go into it, and historically I've even traced this back to my other systems, and this is always how it has been. First off is the value. Second is games. And third is friends. Now, some people might say, with that third one right there, and I really contemplated throwing friends in there. But some people might say things along the lines of, well, I only play by myself. I don't plan to play on PlayStation Network or Xbox Live or anything like that. Well, even when I was younger, it was like Sega versus Nintendo, anything like that, which nobody was playing online with those, like in elementary school, anything like that. And now this is even before my time, but for example, how embarrassing must it have been if let's say you lived in the United States and everyone on the block had a Nintendo Entertainment System and you were that dude with the Sega Master System. Sega Master System was a great system. It had some good games on it, but nobody really had it. So you were going to feel left out. Now, the reason why I threw that in as well too is because I've seen multiple people buy a PS4, be really happy with it, and about 3 months later, pack it up, sell everything, get an Xbox One. Reason why? All their friends were on Xbox One, and they couldn't play with any of their friends on the PS4. I've also seen the exact opposite happen, where people buy the Xbox One, they're really happy about it, but none of their friends are buying them. All their friends are buying the PS4, and they might only be able to afford one, and they might just not like the system as much. So what they do, 3 to 6 months later, they sell that system, they get the other one. Now, when it comes to the games and the software lineup as well, too, that's going to be purely opinionated. Some people can say, oh, Killzone's better than Halo, Tearaway's better than Forza, whatever it is. Those are your opinions. There's nothing that's going to be factual with that. It's all bias, it's all opinion, so whatever you think the games are better on, anything like that, is different. So if I say, for example, Drive Club is better than Forza, that's an opinion. That's my opinion. If I say Drive Club handles better than Forza, then if we look at, the resolution, frame rate, everything like that, we can get a factual guesstimate of that. Not even a guesstimate, we can get facts from that. So that's a whole different thing. So facts versus opinion. And then finally, as I said, I've covered, out of order here, friends, games, and value. Now, with the 7th generation of systems, which was the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and the Wii, my first system I bought in 2007 was the Xbox 360. Now, the reason why I bought that was really for those reasons, and I'll kind of wrap that up right here too. I bought it because I actually bought the most expensive model. I got the Xbox 360 Elite because it was going to have HDMI, it was a black system, and also it came with a few other extra things as well too. One big thing was, you could either get no hard drive, a 20 gig hard drive, or a 120 gig hard drive. So even though it was a more expensive variant of the system, to me, it had the most value and the biggest bang for your buck when it came to that. When it came to games, I bought it for Grand Theft Auto 4 and Halo 3. Halo 3, I bought because I'm a Halo fan. Can't deny that. Grand Theft Auto 4, at the time, they said that the DLC that was going to come out not Fallout. I've been playing Fallout. They said at the time, Grand Theft Auto's DLC was going to be exclusive for the Xbox 360. Of course, that wasn't the case, but at the time, Microsoft had paid quite a bit of money to have the DLC on the system first. And nobody really knew how DLC worked at that time. We'd only had expansion packs on PC and a few little pieces of DLC here and there. It was 2007, so DLC for consoles was really new, and it wasn't used that often, and it wasn't as bad. So there was that. And then finally, when I got on Xbox Live, a lot of my friends had the Xbox 360. So I was able to play with most of my friends from school. So that worked out as well too. So that was, to me, the holy trinity of why I picked out that system and why I would pick out most systems. Now, before I get into the separations of the systems, I want to talk about what both these consoles have. So if you buy an Xbox One or a PS4, you're going to have to pay for online service. And by that I mean, if you just want to connect, get online, whatever it is, that's fine. You can use Netflix, all that stuff, that's fine. But if you want to talk to friends, if you want to play games like multiplayer games, anything like that, you're going to have to buy PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live. PlayStation Plus, I want to say, is $50 a year. Somebody double check that for me. And Xbox Live is $60 a year. Now, both of those, if you look for deals, you can get them much cheaper. I've been paying about $30 per year for Xbox Live, so it really depends. And a few years ago, I actually saw a really good deal on PlayStation Plus, and I got 3 years of PlayStation Plus for $30 a piece. So it really depends on where you look. But granted, regardless of the price, you are going to have to pay to get online. If you want to get a base model of the system, here's one thing that's nice. Both of the systems are the same price now. For $350, you can get a PlayStation 4 with probably like one game thrown in. And same thing with the Xbox One. You can get an Xbox One without the Kinect with maybe 1 or 2 games thrown in. So the price is going to be the same on there as well too. It's just, again, going to be what your preference is going to be on here. There's also going to be free games that come with each service. So if you pay for PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold, whatever it is, you will get free games per month. And if you have multiple consoles in that ecosystem, it works out. So for example, on PlayStation Plus, you can get PSP, PS Vita, PS3, and PS4 games for free every single month. And this is like minimum like $100 worth of games every month. Then for Xbox Live, they do 2 Xbox 360 games and 2 Xbox One games. So if you have the 360 and the Xbox One, you're getting 4 free games a month. And the nice thing is with it, with backwards compatibility, now you could sometimes even get 4 free games for the Xbox One, because you can get 2 Xbox One games, and you can get 2 Xbox 360 games that might or might not be backwards compatible on the Xbox One, so it works out quite well. For people that say, no, Xbox Live will give you free games, PlayStation Plus, all that stuff, for anyone that doesn't know, with Xbox Live, if you pay for the gold service, you get those games. When your gold service runs out, you still get the games for free. PlayStation Plus, you get the free games, but as long as you're paying for PlayStation Plus, they're free. Once your PlayStation Plus expires, you cannot play them again until you renew your PlayStation Plus. The reason why I don't see this as an issue is because I don't know of anyone who gets like a year of PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live and then just never buys it again. More than likely, if you're buying a year, you're going to continue buying it on a yearly basis. Unless for some reason, you just stop playing game systems for a few years or something, then at that point, that's money down the drain. That's understandable why you're not paying for that online service. But if you're regularly playing, then I don't see why you would cancel out that service. That's just my thoughts there. And finally, the exclusives is what I want to talk about as well here too, which I'm not going into major detail, but you need to look at the exclusives on the Xbox One, on the PlayStation 4, what's coming out, what's already out, what are your tastes, what do you like, what do you dislike. So that's all going to be personal opinion, but each system has strong exclusives, and multitudes of them too. Now let's talk about the Xbox One first. Oh man, I'm so impressed with this system. Not even the system itself, more of what has happened to it. For anyone that does not know, the Xbox One was one of the most hated systems. I didn't even pre-order it at first. I didn't. I pre-ordered the PS4 first, and I said I will pre-order and buy the Xbox One whichever comes first. Whenever they make it playable offline, so it doesn't have Suicide Watch DRM like it had on the first variant of it, or it can be modded for offline play. Thankfully, Microsoft pulled a 180 on that. I ended up getting the Xbox One, so it worked out pretty well. But even with that, it's been regarded as the more expensive system for some time. The Kinect was thrown in on there. There was just so much bad press with it. And Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, he's done such a good job turning everything around. He's reduced the price. He's pulled the Kinect away. He's gotten better deals for people. All that stuff, because Microsoft's aware, and they know, the Xbox One's not selling as well as the PlayStation 4. It's not. These are facts. It isn't. It really has to catch up to the PS4. I don't think it's ever going to catch up to the PS4. So they have to do whatever they can to get consoles into people's homes. And this, if you're buying an Xbox One this holiday season, is where it gets good for you. Because they're doing that, there are so many bundles that are available, and you'll be able to get a good deal really almost no matter what you do. I mean, there's been some excellent deals I've seen. One of them, for example, has been Dell. Now, I don't really like Dell too much, honestly, but I digress. They've had a really good deal for Black Friday on a system. For $300, you get an Xbox One without the Kinect with an extra controller, so 2 controllers, and then I believe you get Gears of War Ultimate with it and Fallout 4. And I don't remember if there was another game with it, but for $300. So you're getting a free controller and a free game with that. That's a really good deal right there. And there are multitudes of other deals as well, too. So you really just have to be on the lookout for sales, anything like that. But, as I said, Microsoft is doing this because they know they need to get the systems out there. They just need people buying them. They need to get the systems out in people's homes because they're just not selling as well as the PS4. And that's going to be the fact of it. But they're doing a pretty good job so far. Now, it's improved quite a bit. What happened was when the Xbox One first came out, you really had to use it with the Kinect. It wasn't very pleasurable to use with a controller. Like, it was designed to have the Kinect married to it. But they've put out so many updates that now it's gone to the point where I can just use this thing and it works out pretty well, which is great, especially with the new Xbox One experience, which is the whole new UI and everything. They've done a much better job with that. It makes sense, it's more intuitive, it's more fluid, it's faster, everything like that. They've done a great job with that so far. They've also added in a multitude of new features. They've put in new features every single month with updates. So monthly updates, which people, on the PlayStation side have been envious of. Like, my PS4, there's not really big updates that come out with it, honestly, but I'm kind of trying to stick to one system at a time right now. In addition to that, developers now at this point are learning how to use the system better. They're actually optimizing their games for it much more. And a lot of people said, this is one thing I want to disprove, right? And this is for any system. A lot of people said, well, the PS4 and Xbox One are x86 architecture. They've already been maxed out. 2013, they came out, they're maxed out. We're never going to get games better than that. No, that's not true. Yeah, they're the same architecture, but they're still going to be different than, other setups. And that doesn't mean that the games can, they're just going to come out and that's it. No, they're going to improve over time, no matter what's going to happen, really. So it's just, you have to get the right development team behind something, and they'll be able to pull it out. Granted, they're not going to, be pulling miracles out of the system by any means, and I just want to get this straight. DirectX 12 is not going to be a complete game changer for the Xbox One. If you don't believe me, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, he said that as well, too. He flat out said, DirectX 12 is not going to be that big of a deal. It's going to make some things easier for developers, but it's not going to, turn the Xbox One into the PlayStation 5 by any means. So there's that. But what I'm trying to say is games have been getting better in performance for the Xbox One. Developers are learning, like, for example, with The Witcher 3. So one thing that the Xbox One always suffers with is multi-plat games are almost always a lower resolution on the Xbox One variant than the PS4 variant. So what they did with Witcher 3, for example, was they decided to do some dynamic scaling on there. And to keep the frame rate relatively stable, what they did was they had a fluctuating resolution where at times when, it looked good and everything and you didn't have that much activity on screen, the game was 1080p. But then it would move around in resolution, so if you were running and there were a ton of enemies around and all that, it would start downgrading the resolution, and it did all that stuff on the fly. Well, those are tricks that I think are great, that developers need to embrace not only on the Xbox One, but on the PlayStation 4. Because for people that say, resolution this, resolution that, honestly, I don't really notice the resolutions that much. On PC, I notice a big difference between 720p and 1080p. On consoles, to be honest, not that much. I really, that's just me. And I'm not even making up excuses, that I just don't notice that difference that much on consoles. Now, a few bad things about this system is, as I said, it's a weaker system. Let's put it at that. Some people might say, oh, well, the CPU is a faster clock speed than the PlayStation 4's. Yeah, but are you doing data analytics or are you gaming? That's what I want to know. You see, if I was trying to do data analytics or anything like that, desktop work, I'd probably want a better CPU. But if I'm gaming, I would rather have an okay CPU with a really good GPU as opposed to a really good CPU with an okay GPU. So for gaming, it is weaker. That's just how it is. So I can't really say anything else about that. In addition to that, Xbox Live still has a good amount of issues. Now, when they went from the 360 to the One, they said that they have now, 100,000 servers, something like that, or 300,000 servers. I don't remember what it was, but they had a ton of servers set up for Xbox Live on the Xbox One. Xbox Live goes down a bunch. There's things that don't work on there. There's things that break. It's still an issue 2 years in. So I don't know what's going on, but it's not as stable as it should be. Granted, it's getting better, and that's also another thing that Phil Spencer had come out and said. He said that the outages and issues with Xbox Live are hurting the platform. And that's really what it is. And some people might think I'm just trying to quote him the whole time. No, I'm really not. These are actually concerns that I've had, and he's come out publicly and said them, which is great. So, again, it's one of those things. If you don't see an issue with it, well, the head of Xbox sees an issue with it, and I think I would take his opinion more. Finally, as I said, even though multiplats are getting better on the Xbox One, they still have issues. There's going to be some games that come out that are going to run at low frame rates. They're going to be a little more unstable. There's going to be even games that are exclusive to the system that should be performing better, and they're not performing as well as they should be. Halo 5, for example, they did some pretty cool stuff on there. They did some, dynamic stuff, which I kind of explained on the Witcher scenario, to keep the game at 60 frames a second stable. So for anybody that says Halo 5 is 1080p 60, no, it's not. It's not. And for anybody that says, oh, well, my TV says 1080p, your TV upscales it, your Xbox upscales it. No, Halo 5 is not 1080p, but it is 60 frames a second. While his other games, for example, Rise of the Tomb Raider, that's a 1080p game. Looks great, looks gorgeous. Frame rate goes up and down on that, though. Granted, it's not huge, but it's still an issue, and it's bugged a few people, so there's that. Now, I kind of want to make this kind of a sandwich as well, too, of positivity. So I'm going to talk about, some positive, negative, and then positive stuff to finish that off. And, some big things where one of the biggest things I want to talk about is backwards compatibility, which this feature is great. So in case you don't know, this is a feature that is on Xbox One, of course. And the PS4 does not have this. I don't know if they'll ever get anything like this. Some people might say PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now is not backwards compatibility. I'm going to explain that when I get to the PlayStation section of this video. So for this, what is backwards compatibility? What am I talking about here? Well, now, if you have games that are able to be played on the Xbox One from the Xbox 360, either digitally or on a disc, you can now download new variants of them on the Xbox One and play them on there. And some of them might perform better, and some of them might not. And it's great because some people might say, well, I just want to play Xbox One games. I don't want to play these old games. That's fine, you do you. I'm one of those people, I believe the more features we can get, the better. And backwards compatibility is a feature that has been dying out for the past generation or two, and I would still like to see it come back. The Wii U, for example, has complete backwards compatibility with the Wii. The Xbox One now has limited backwards compatibility with Xbox 360 titles. It's on a per-title basis. And the PS4 does not have any type of backwards compatibility aside from streaming, which, again, I will get into that as well. So, the good and the bad with this. The good thing is, I can take my discs, they work. If I have anything on my account, I can download those. But it's a per-title basis. So right now, they're having some trouble with multi-disc games. I think they're still working on DLC as well, too. So some games have DLC, some games don't. But if I have a disc, for example, for anybody who's conscious of bandwidth, if I have a disc of, let's say, Fallout 3, I put it in, I don't install the game off the disc. It downloads the game. So I put the disc in, it recognizes it as Fallout 3, and it downloads a Xbox One-ified version of it. And these are not HD upgrades, you all. It's not going to be like a remaster or an upgrade or anything. This is just going to be a newer variant. And these games can change as well, too. Some of them might have a better frame rate. Some of them might be a little bit more stable. Some of them might look better. They might have some more anti-aliasing, things like that. And it really depends. There's two examples I want to talk about. One of them is Fallout 3. I saw some videos on it, and I was actually very impressed. Now, Digital Foundry did a video comparing Fallout 3 on the Xbox 360 and the Xbox 360 version on the Xbox One. And the Xbox One backwards compatible version of Fallout 3 plays smoother, and it looks a little bit better, and it seems to be more stable, which I'm all for that. That is what backwards compatibility is supposed to do. You either run the game at the same caliber it was, or you make it better. But then there's some other games where they need to tweak them, modify them, anything like that. And one of them is Gears of War 3. Now, I myself don't have any experience with this, but my girlfriend is a huge Gears of War fanatic. She absolutely goes bonkers over that series. She's a big Gears of War 3 player, and she plays it somewhat religiously on the Xbox 360. She's also very picky, and she picks out very minute details. So when the animations change, or when something minute changes on the game, she will notice it right there. It's crazy how she does it, but she can do that. So she actually, I listened to her playing Gears of War 3 one night, and she was all excited about it because she was playing it, and she's like, oh, it looks so much better, and it seems to run smoother, and she noticed that aesthetically it looked better. But then she was playing multiplayer, and she started complaining because she said that the multiplayer was just all sorts of screwed up. I don't know exactly what they were screwing up on there, but for anybody who is like a Twitch shooter, or you really rely on, little tiny details, anything like that. So even, for example, like a professional Call of Duty player or anything like that, they're going to notice those details. So if you're really in the zone on that, you're going to notice that. So it's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect, I feel like, but those are improvements that can be made, and I hope they are. She and I kind of came to the conclusion that it was mostly optimized for the single player and like horde experience, but for multiplayer, not so much. Multiplayer, it's better to play Gears of War 3 on the Xbox 360 instead of playing the 360 version on the Xbox One, just because of those little minute differences. Now, one big thing that the Xbox One was pushing as well too, which might appeal to you all, is that it is a overall multimedia entertainment system, which that's pretty nice as well, too. I do like that you can snap different apps. I like how you can suspend apps, all that different stuff. And it's all really fluid and quite easy. So I like the interface on there, at least like the newer interface now. I think it's pretty great. They did a good job on that. In addition to that, one big thing that they have over the PlayStation 4, which Sony has said they're not going to do this. They didn't do it on the PS3, which annoys me because you can do it with a jailbroken system and you can't do it with a stock PS3. And the PS4, they said they're not going to do that either. You can't have an external storage medium to play games off of. So the Xbox One, for example, I can go out and I can purchase a 2, 3, 4 terabyte external hard drive, hook it up through USB, and that's it. It's effortless. All my games are on there, so I could download new games on there. I could install new games on there. And if I have multiple Xbox Ones, for example, and I don't want to download a 50 gigabyte game again, I can just take out my hard drive, hook it up to the other Xbox One, copy that over, or just play it straight off the hard drive. Super awesome feature. PlayStation 4 does not do that, and I did not know this until I bought a hard drive for it. You have to install the hard drive internally, which some people say, oh, you're just lazy. No, I'm not, because I've upgraded my PS4 to 2 terabyte. I have a 2 terabyte PS4 sitting back there, but I would preference having a external version, mainly for convenience, but also due to the fact that games seem to run better off an external drive, mostly because on the internal drive, you have the operating system and the game on there, while as the external drive, all you have is the game on there. So it's going to be a more streamlined process. And for anyone that says, oh, well, USB 3.0 might bottleneck it, no, it's not. These systems internally, both of them have SATA 2, so USB 3 is faster than SATA 2. So you're not losing out on anything there, and you're just benefiting. Now, I want to actually throw these back in because I almost moved over to the PlayStation side and forgot about these, which these two features are huge. But first off, one of them is related to backwards compatibility. I actually have an entire video on this, which I'll hopefully try to remember to link in the description or something. But backwards compatibility is actually region-free now, which is huge because, in short, this was not a thing on the Xbox 360, but now Xbox 360 games, as long as they're backwards compatible, can be region-free on the Xbox One. And that's another thing. Both these systems are region-free, so that was extremely impressive. I'm not reacting as much now because I already reacted in that other video, but I was mind blown. I really was. Another thing as well, too, is how game sharing works. So this is how a lot of people will try and do this to get free games and all that. I understand that's going to happen. But this is something that the Xbox has, and they've done really well. Have they done it on purpose like this? I don't know. But I'll put it like this. So they have family sharing, right? Where I can share accounts and all that stuff. And, for example, this is how it is. I have 2 younger brothers, and I gave them an Xbox One. Now, I don't want to go out and buy Xbox Live for them, but I still want to play some games with them. So I have my account on their system, and I have that system set as my home Xbox. That means that they can now, because as long as I have Xbox Live Gold, they can play online. So I'm paying for one membership for 3 different accounts, which is great. So technically, if I pay $30 for a year, I'm paying like $10 per year if I divide that between the accounts. Another big thing is that now any games that I download digitally, they'll be able to download. So, for example, Minecraft Story Mode. They love Minecraft. I love Telltale Games. So I decided to buy that. So now what they can do is they don't even have to access my account, but they can go into their accounts and download it directly from there and play it. Now, what if it's a multiplayer game? Here's the big thing. And this impressed me because Steam does not do this. They have family sharing, but you cannot do this. You can play the game simultaneously on different systems. I'll put it like this. The reason why Steam doesn't do it is because, let's say let's say here, I'm going to be pulling this out for an example later, but let's say I have a roommate, right? We both have a PS4, we each have one PS4, and I have one copy of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Well, if I want to share with him, I can give him my copy, and he can play it. He's not paying for it at all. I didn't have to pay anything, extra, and he can play just fine. He can enjoy it. The problem is, we still have one copy of the game between 2 systems. Steam also embraces this, where if you don't know, Steam is a platform on PC, where recently I actually just purchased Fallout 4 on there, and I game share with my girlfriend on there. So I told her, I said, hey, you have Fallout 4 now because I have Fallout 4. She now has access to my games, I have access to her games, so even though I bought Fallout 4 on my account, she can download it and play it. The problem is, we still have one license, one copy of the game. So that means if I want to play Fallout 4 and she's playing it, I have to let her know. And if she doesn't want to get off it, I can play the game, but within 5 minutes, it will kick her off of the game. So we still have one copy. The Xbox One does not do that. Let's say Halo 5, that's a multiplayer game. If I buy that digitally and my brothers download it, they can play the game, I can play the game, and we can play the game on 2 different systems at the same time. Again, mind-blowing right there, because I was not expecting that at all, but that is an actual thing. So gold sharing, which the PlayStation has, that has PS Plus sharing, and complete game sharing like that, where you can play simultaneously. So if you have big families, anything like that, it's definitely something to consider. And one reason why you might want to go over digital, because let's say, you can get a game for $45 physical, but the digital copy is $60. Well, if you can share that between 4 people, that's a $15 game all of a sudden, instead of paying, $180 for 4 copies of it. So you've got to think about that. Now let's go ahead and talk about the PS4. Now it's no secret the PS4 is going to be the more powerful system. It has better RAM, it has a faster GPU, and it's been selling like hotcakes. It hasn't helped at all. Well, it has helped, but it hasn't helped the Xbox One front at all. That the PS4 came out cheaper, and now it is the same price as the Xbox One. So they're both being sold for $350, which I had mentioned before. Most people are buying this system just because they're moving over to it. They've seen it as a better deal. Consumers most of the time are not going to be stupid, and they can see that most of the time games are handling better on the PlayStation 4. Games are getting more support on the PlayStation 4 compared to the Xbox One counterparts, and all that other good stuff. Like Call of Duty, for example, this game that I just grabbed, Advanced Warfare. For anyone that does not know, the Call of Duty games were really headed on Xbox for quite a while. If you had an Xbox platform, you got the maps 30 days early compared to the PlayStation guys or the PC guys. That's changed. Now, starting with Black Ops 3, PlayStation has that exclusivity there. So that's just, I wasn't expecting to see that at all. But granted, the PlayStation 4 does have a bigger install base. That's where the money is. That's where Activision's going to go. So a lot of people, I feel like, who are big Call of Duty players are going to go over to the PS4 just because of that. That actually made me almost, like when it was on Xbox One, I almost rebought Advanced Warfare on Xbox One just because of the maps, but I decided not to. I stuck to the PS4 version. Now, I want to talk about some negatives with the PS4 here. First off are the lack of updates or the slow time between updates. And this is something that PlayStation owners have been very open about and they have complained about. Updates don't come out very often for the PlayStation 4. They really don't. Xbox gets nearly monthly updates, PlayStation not so much. In addition to those updates not being there, there's also a lot of features that Sony is just not being as transparent about. Because see, I feel like what happened, and a lot of people are saying this, Sony's really comfortable. They're on top right now, they're selling the most systems, they can do whatever the hell they want to. Right now, Xbox is hungry. I mean, they're trying to get back that market share, so they're trying to do whatever they can to appease the consumers. PS4, Sony's just kind of saying, hey, we can do whatever the hell we want to, and we're selling systems. It doesn't matter. That's kind of what's going on right now, and I really hope they're able to embrace this a bit more, because a few complaints that I can kind of verify, but other people have been open about, is that PlayStation Plus, we're paying for it now, we're required to pay for it to get online, and it still feels like a free service most of the time. Now, PlayStation Plus does not go, well, PlayStation Network doesn't go down as much, it doesn't have as many issues, but it was having quite a few issues for quite a long time, mostly stability issues, features, things like that. When it comes to features, I could go on about this, but one big feature that everyone really wants at this point, everyone wants it, people have wanted this since 2006, since the PS3, is the ability to change your username. That's still not a thing on there. In addition to that, there's been some other updates, like Update 3.0 came out for the PlayStation 4, which was supposed to be this big, spectacular update, and it was pretty lackluster for most people. Granted, they changed a few things. It's still, fast interface and all that stuff, but one big thing was they made it so that it's either really hard to or you cannot play MP3 files off a flash drive. This was something that people who were in the beta test had talked openly about. They were openly expressing this, and Sony did not add it back in. More than likely to make room for Spotify, but that's just shady on their part. So people complained about this. So Sony put out another update, which, guess what it added? Stickers. It gave you more stickers to send on messages. So I really don't know what's going on over there. A lot of things that should be basic on the platform, I'm kind of quoting other people here, but a lot of people have said, things that should be basic on the PlayStation ecosystem and the platform, Sony's kind of making it sound like it's rocket science. Biggest thing, as I said, is changing your name. People have said, we're working on it, it's not possible, it might not be possible, it will be possible, it's going to be implemented in, we don't know. People just want to change their names. That's really all they want to do. One of my friends, I'll go ahead and tell this story. He used to, he still might be, I don't know, but he used to be a really big brony. For anyone that doesn't know, that's a guy who's obsessed with My Little Pony. They're really into it and all that. And his PlayStation Network name reflects that. He's kind of more conscious about it now, and he wants to hide it a bit more, and he's not as into the show, I believe. But he can't change his name. And he's bought stuff on there. He has ranks on different games. He doesn't want to make a new account. So he's stuck with a My Little Pony type name. People like him want to change their names. People who have misspelled their username when making a new account want to change their names. And I don't see why this can't be done. It's 2015 right now. The PlayStation Network ecosystem has been around for nearly 9 years at this point. A decade here soon. This needs to be a thing that's added in. Come on, man, this needs to be something. Now, I had discussed backwards compatibility on the Xbox One platform, and I'll talk about it on here. I talked about PlayStation Now, and a lot of people are saying PlayStation Now is backwards compatibility. No, it's not. It is not. The reason why I say that is because, let me break it down. It does not rely on the system natively at all. PlayStation Now is game streaming. I can stream PlayStation 4 games on there, but I can also stream PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 games whenever they're added in, anything like that, because right now the PlayStation 4 only plays PlayStation 4 games. Now, some people might also say, well, it doesn't matter, you can still play PS1, 2, 3 games on there, that's still backwards compatibility. No, it's not. You know why? Because PlayStation Now is not just limited to the PlayStation 4. It's also on Sony TVs. If I get a smart Sony TV with internet, internet compatibility, all that other stuff, and it supports PlayStation Now, all I need is a controller. And I turn the thing on. All I need is a controller, and that's it. I can stream my games. So all of a sudden, is my TV backwards compatible with PlayStation 3 games? Because there's no PlayStation hardware in the TV itself. So that's why I'm saying that. The Wii U has native backwards compatibility. Xbox One has some type of native backwards compatibility. PlayStation 4 does not. It has streaming backwards compatibility, which is not even backwards compatibility. It's just game streaming. That's really what it is. Now, what would guide people over to the PlayStation 4 more? Well, as I've already, talked about a little bit, it has the better GPU, so faster GPU, which I would rather have for gaming. It has better RAM, so GDDR5 RAM on there, so it works out, quite well for what you need it to do. And overall, the architecture's just worked a little more. So the Xbox One, it has the SRAM, which people are still kind of working around. They've gotten it better, but PlayStation 4 does not have any of that wonky stuff. They pretty much learned what they did with the RAM and what they screwed up with on the PS3, and they've moved that over to the PS4. And I've even told people the PS4 is really what the PS3 should have been, which makes me happy because I do enjoy the system quite a bit. Some people might also criticize the basicness of the user interface on the PS4. Personally, I love it. I think the XMB, or the cross-media bar, works quite well, and we've just seen natural evolutions of it, since the PSX. The PSX, it's an actual thing. I'm not talking about the PlayStation. I'm talking about the PSX. It's Blu-ray players, PSP, PS3, and it's just gotten better. It's intuitive, it's fast, it's snappy, dare I say it, and it makes sense. So a lot of people are even saying, the new Xbox One experience, it's faster and easier to use in the PS4. It's not easier to use in the PS4. But faster, I think it's up there. I really don't know. Some people have done tests and all that stuff. I feel like it's about the same, honestly. So you could more look into that, but I personally don't think it's any easier to use. I think the PS4 is still easier to use, and it makes sense. You're able to do, all the suspending and everything like that you can with other apps. It's just not at the forefront on the PS4, because the PS4 is going to be a game system for first, and then a media player second. But it's still a damn good media player. Now, one big thing on here is that multiplats, most of the time, run better on the PlayStation 4. Now, I'm not saying all the time, and I'm going to talk about that here when I show some games and everything, but most of the time, they do run better. They have higher resolutions, they have a more stable frame rate, anything like that. And that's a combination of coding and architecture, because I'll put it like this. There are some games you can see that are just... Black Ops 3, let's talk about that, for example. That game looks horrible on the Xbox 360 and PS3. It's extremely gimped. It doesn't have very good support. But I've seen games like Rise of the Tomb Raider on the Xbox 360, and those look phenomenal. So, coding fault, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there. Aside from all that, we can go ahead and kind of move into the games right here, because this is where I can kind of get a little more intricate as well, too. For some people that might say I wasn't talking about as much with the PS4, well, I don't have that much bad stuff to say about it. And the good stuff, it's still good on there. But at the same time, it's not really as rich in features. So that might also speak with something on the system. But let me go ahead and get these games right here. So first off, I got a few different games. So these are some things I want to talk about. So first off, Dragon Age Inquisition. I've only played a little bit of it. Fun game. But you know why I got this on the Xbox One? This is one of those weird instances where this game actually plays better on Xbox One than PS4. Some people might say, why didn't you get it on PC? It was free, so I could have just chosen what system I wanted it on. But this game runs at 900p natively on the Xbox One, and it has a stable frame rate. It stays at 30 frames a second. PS4, it runs at 1080p, and it does not stay stable. And you're going to see that a lot with a lot of systems. Most of the time, if a game is 1080p on PS4, it'll be 900 on Xbox. If a game is 900 on PS4, it'll be 720 on Xbox, so it really depends. But this game, as I said, runs smoother on the Xbox One than the PlayStation 4. What a time to be alive. It's another game right here. Now, I ended up buying this because I was like, oh, it's Capcom, it's Resident Evil, it's going to be Revelations 2, I think it'll be a good game. I bought it on PS4, right? I didn't have any issues with it. Now, I did not play it when it first came out, but I saw some videos on it, and the frame rate was not good on this. Now, I believe this game is 1080p, and it's supposed to be 60 frames, but it was all over the place. And the weird thing is, the Xbox One was stable. It just stayed at 60. This game, it was going from like 60 to 55 to 47. It was going all over the place. About a week later, or the first week this game came out, there was a patch that hit that fixed all that. So this is a game that, weirdly enough, did not play very well on the PS4 compared to the Xbox One, but I talked about that coding before. They got their minds right. They put out a patch, which this shouldn't be a thing, but they put out a patch, and now the game runs great on here. So that's why I have the PS4 version. And then there are some games where you're really not going to notice that much of a difference. I got Grand Theft Auto 5 on both systems, and honestly, they both look good. They both stay at 30 frames a second. It is what it is. So, I don't know, some people might be fighting over those like little intricate details. They're mostly the same game. Like, I haven't noticed any big differences between the two, aside from whatever controller you're playing with and the ecosystem that you're staying on. Now, since I covered the PS4 second, let's go ahead and talk about this first. So, again, I brought Call of Duty right here because this is going to be an exclusive thing, right? But there's also another thing I want to talk about. I talked about the DLC exclusivity. This is a game that doesn't handle as well on the PS4 sometimes. Now, granted, it's still very playable, and it's still a fun game to play on PS4, but it's been historic with Ghosts, with Advanced Warfare, and people are even saying with Black Ops 3, which I just don't have a case like this for it. Frame drops on the PS4 version, and the Xbox One version seems to be fine. The Xbox One version is also at a lower resolution. And that's one thing that really frustrates me, because, again, it's a combination of hardware and coding, but also if the game is not stable at 1080p, just downgrade the resolution. I think that's what should be done. Personally, I would do that. Fallout 4 right now, for example, when I played on my laptop doesn't handle it that well. I played at 720p on there, it handles it fine. Like, I can play it at mostly 60 frames a second. So I wouldn't mind taking a resolution drop on here. In fact, if there was an option for that, where you could turn down the resolution on games on consoles, I would do that if it meant that I could make my games play smoother, because I'm more for frame rate than for the resolution. Now, Drive Club is a PS4 exclusive. I think it's a great game. Personally, I like it more than Forza. At least, you know, the simulators and all that. I think Forza Horizon 2 is still fun, but I personally like this more than Forza Horizon 2. I think it's a great game. It looks great. It handles well. It did get criticized because it is 30 frames a second, but to me, it handles very well, and I think it's quite a fun game. This game right here I pulled because this has been happening quite a bit, and we got a remaster of Final Fantasy X and X-2. For anyone that doesn't know, it came out on PS2, got a remaster on PS3, and then we got the remaster on PS4, which this just boosted up to native 1080p, and it makes it look a little prettier, and frame rate's a bit more stable. Still runs at 30, but I don't know, it's kind of annoyed me with this generation, but at the same time, I really like Final Fantasy, so that's why I picked it up. Now, I actually have the last 3 games I have here are all PlayStation exclusives, well, PS4 exclusives, but first off right here, Tearaway Unfolded Crafted Edition. So disappointed this did not get more attention. Tearaway was one of my favorite games on the PS Vita, so I had to pick this up, and it's only $40, so I got it less than that, but it's a $40 game, retail, excellent game. I enjoy this. You cannot get mad playing this game. So this is a great exclusive game on the PS4. I thoroughly enjoy it. It also shows that Sony is going to do other things as well. You have a multitude and a plethora of different types of exclusives. So you're not only going to have shooters, because really, at this point, one weakness that the Xbox One has is that Forza and Halo and Gears, that's about it. You have a racing game and 2 shooting games. Like, you don't have anything like this on the system that's exclusive. It depends on what it is, I guess. So I'm hoping for more variants on the Xbox One. Right here, this is a semi-exclusive Uncharted Nathan Drake collection. I've never played the Uncharted game. So I picked this up. It's the first 3 Uncharted games in one package, all boosted to 60 frames a second, and I believe 1080p. They handle phenomenally. I've only played a bit of the first one, but it handles and it looks so great. This is how you do a remaster right here. This was great. And finally, Until Dawn. This is one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 4. Now, for anyone that does not know, this is kind of a horror thriller type game. It's supposed to be like a typical, cheesy high school horror type game or movie. It's a lot like an interactive movie. I've beat this game probably 3 or 4 times. I think I've beat it about 3 times on my own, and then I beat it another time with friends. And if you have this game, play it with friends, because it is so fun to play through it. And it's just funny when people are screaming and all that. So people just scream for the silliest reasons. But this is actually something, I would like more games like this. There are other games like this, like Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain on the PS3. Heavy Rain is actually the reason why I bought a PS3. And then you have games like this. I want games like this on the Xbox One as well. Some people might cite D4 as a good example of that. D4 is not really this type of game. It's similar, but no, it's not. It's more of like a Telltale almost type game. And some people might even source those, but I digress. I think there needs to be something like this, like true interactive movie thing on the Xbox One. I think it'd be great to have. Now, here are also a few games that I have on the Xbox One. So, Forza Horizon 2, this is not an Xbox One exclusive. You can get on 360, but it looks prettier on the Xbox One. A lot of people seem to like it more on the Xbox One. I think it's a pretty great game to have on there. Granted, I've played Forza 5. I sold it because I really didn't like it that much, and then I haven't played Forza 6, but I like these arcade-type racers. I finished this one. I really enjoyed it. I still like Drive Club a little more, but Forza Horizon, I love the first one. The second one's also a really great game. Halo, oh my god, Halo the Master Chief Collection. I don't know if it works right now. This right here is how you don't handle a game. This game was completely broken. There were a lot of things that were missing on here. I still don't have all my achievements that I was supposed to unlock on this game. There were a lot of things that went wrong with this, which I don't know how it went wrong, but this has been a staple and a great excuse and reason that people have pointed to say this is how you don't handle a game. In fact, I'm going to show you all this real quick. I'm trying not to drop my games here because I'm handling all these games. But right here, Uncharted. So one big criticism of this collection is that it has no multiplayer. Uncharted 2 and 3 had multiplayer, and none of them had multiplayer on here. They're only the single-player adventures. One reason why Naughty Dog came out and said they only did single-player is because they took a jab at Master Chief Collection. They really did. They said that we cannot do, the multiplayer and the single player, and we can't promise that it's going to be, living up to the quality that it needs. And I looked at it, I was like, you all are just not wanting to do a Master Chief Collection on a Sony system, which I can agree with, but I also think that they should have put the multiplayer on here because a lot of people are really hyped for the multiplayer. Now it's not there, so, there's that. But this is how you don't handle a game. Now this right here, new exclusive, Halo 5 Guardians. I enjoy this game. I don't think it's the best in the series. I think it's a good game, though. Definitely, a good contender. They've done some things that they really put a lot of polish on this game, and I'll respect the developers for that. They learned from Master Chief Collection. They saw what other people have been screwing up on the Xbox One, and they put their best foot forward on this. They made a pretty solid title. This is pretty much the best deal you can get all year. Rare Replay. 30 games. $30. And, with all these sales going around, you can get this for like 15, 20 bucks. And these are all, great games. They're anything from, the Z Spectrum, like the Z Spectrum or something like that, to the Xbox 360. You get 30 games on here for 30 bucks. Great price. All the Banjo-Kazooie games, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, that's an okay game. Conker's Bad Fur Day, that's the main reason why I picked this up. I want to play Conker again on my Xbox One. And this to me was pretty much buy Conker's Bad Fur Day, get 29 games free, so I was happy with this. This game I haven't played too much right now because I'm probably going to be playing it, right before this video comes out. I'm recording this about a week before it's supposed to come out, but Rise of the Tomb Raider. Now, I will say this is a little bit frustrating to me because I do enjoy the game. I think it looks great. I think it's been handled well on the Xbox One. And it also came out on the Xbox 360. And the funny thing is, the Xbox 360 version is phenomenal. It looks really great. It handles really well. And I look at that, I'm like, this is going to deter a lot of people from wanting to upgrade here soon. But at the same time, what have these other developers been doing? Forza Horizon 2 was not nearly as good on 360 as it was on Xbox One. Black Ops 3 completely gimped on the old systems compared to the new ones. And then just look up Rise of the Tomb Raider on 360. You will be impressed that is coming out of a 10-year-old system. Yeah, the system is 10 years old at this point. Hard to believe. And then finally, you know, I showed this before, but I'll show it again. Rise Son of Rome. It's not an exclusive anymore. I know it's on PC. I actually enjoyed this game. That's why I've kept it, just because, well, it was a day one these day one games. But also, I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great game. So a lot of people, they had some reservations on it. It's a short game. It was really fun. It showed, you know, what the Xbox could do. And the funny thing is, a lot of people even cite this as one of the best looking games, if not the best looking game on this generation. Some people have even said recently, I've been told, there was like one person who was saying, you know, he believed that Rise of Tomb Raider is the best looking game he's seen on this generation. Right next to it would be Rise. I need to play this again, actually. I really enjoyed this game, but this was a fun game. Definitely a fun game that kind of shows you know, this is a new generation of systems. So finally, kind of my concluding and wrapping up thoughts right here. What do I think of getting a system? Are they viable? Anything like that? And I would say this, it's a lot better to choose a Xbox One or a PS4 right now than it was a year ago or 6 months ago or even 2 years ago, anything like that. Reason being is that there's a lot more features that are on these systems. They're more stable. There's going to be more games coming out. There's already a good amount of games out right now. There's a good install basis, so I'm sure many people here have friends and family members that have already purchased these systems. And you're seeing all this stuff going on, right? And it can only really go up from here. Especially the prices as well, too. As I said, you can look for great deals. Stock prices, they're both $350 at base price. And even if you go used or start trading stuff, you can get that down lower. There was actually a pawn shop that was about a town away from here that was selling PS4s and Xbox Ones for $200. Yeah, that's pretty cheap for these systems. Granted that they were, you know, $400 or $500 2 years ago. Now, would I recommend buying one? Yes, I actually would. And that's different than what I've been singing, you know, a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, anything like that. And the reason why I say that is because, for all the above reasons, let's go back to the original, the Trinity, the three right here. First off, games. There's plenty of games on both systems, multiplats and exclusives. There's going to be more coming out, and there's free ones that you can get, you know, with the services that you have to pay for to get online. Second thing is value. I think both systems offer you a pretty great value right now at this point. And third point is friends. A lot of people are getting these systems. They have big install bases, so I don't think you're going to be lonely on either system, and it will work out pretty well. So I would honestly recommend, you know, if you are in the market, you have a few $100s, you're thinking of upgrading, getting a newer system, kind of pick your poison and pick which one you want. Now, which one would I recommend? Honestly, I recommend both of them. I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but it's so variant on what people are saying. Now, a lot of people have said, you know, because people have asked me what my preference has been, and I will answer that. My preference has been the PlayStation 4. Granted that, you know, there's just been, I've been getting more games on there. There's been some more games that I was playing, but recently I've been playing a lot more on the Xbox One. And there's been features on there that I'm liking more as well, too. So it's kind of in between. I still preference the PS4, but I'm playing my Xbox One a lot more. And I think that's just kind of how the cards are playing out because of new games and all that are coming out, and just bigger collections, all that other good stuff. And plus the features and the new things that are getting patched in. So they've been doing an excellent job with that. They really have. But both companies have been doing pretty well so far with everything. So the reason why I say I don't really recommend, you know, one system in particular, I would say, you know, I'd recommend both of them, is because I'm one of those people, in an ideal world, if you can get both, get both. If you have to pick one, you're really going to have to make a tough choice right there and kind of zero it down and see what you like and what you don't like. And the reason why I also don't like making that making that decision for people is because a lot of people have asked me, like, I'm thinking of getting either an Xbox One or PS4, what do you think I should get? I don't know what you should get. I don't know what your gaming habits are. I don't know what genres you like. I don't know what controller you like. I don't know what ecosystem you prefer. Anything like that. That's all up to you. So it's your turn now. You got to make the decision on that. Or you could just sit back and say, you know what? I'm just going to wait another year. I'm going to see what happens. I'm just going to chill on my 360 and my PS3. That's a viable option as well, too. So anyways, that is the end of this very long video. So I hope this has helped some of you all out. If you have gotten to the end of this video, you're a fantastic person. Thank you very much for the support and everything. So I know there's going to be a lot of people that say, you didn't go into detail about this. You didn't talk about this. You didn't talk about this. Man, I made like a 40-something minute video. And I didn't even, like, I went into a little bit of detail. I scratched the surface and I went a little bit under. But there's so much more I can go into. But if I start doing that, we'd be here for 2-3 hours. And I don't want to do that, and I don't think you all want to do that either. Anyways, it's Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. Happy gaming season.